out there today?
Felt really confident. Just trying to play quarterback today, not trying to do anything outside myself.
What are the biggest steps you think you've taken this spring?
I think mentally feeling a lot better about knowing where guys are, knowing where the checkdowns are, just trying to get completions. That's what we're trying to accomplish this spring, and I think we've done a really good job of that.
How do you feel about just overall about the weapons that you guys have added this offseason so far? You know, with Mayer and Banks and Barney, seems like a different type of offense so last year.
Yeah, I think obviously last year we had some attrition that affected some of our explosiveness, and we had some young guys who had to step up. And out of all those guys that you just mentioned, Malachi's not back yet. We've still got guys who are being held out for the spring that'll come back and, be a big part of our offense. So, but yeah, having those guys and then having the scheme to be able to stretch the field, but also be able to get completions like we were talking about. Stretch the field. If it's 3rd and 8, stretch the field, hit a check down, get to 4th and 2, maybe we go for it.
How helpful was the helmet communications, having that in kind of a game situation today?
Yeah, so for us, we had it last spring, and then for me at least, last year with the signals. Once you almost become fluid in signals. So the helmets help a little bit for me, but not a ton, just because of how. It gets to a point where Coach Satt or someone may just say the first word of the play, and you just automatically know what the play is, and that's experience. But I think it helps those two younger guys a lot. But I think by this start of the season, those two guys will be at that point too, where we know we can kind of anticipate what kind of play we're going to call, and even if we can't hear the whole play call, that's something that we can just hear the first couple words and go from there.
How does competing against, specifically Dylan, help you elevate your game?
Yeah, last year with Jeff and Chuba, those guys had a different element, and then with Dylan and Danny, those guys are almost entirely different from Jeff and Chuba. And then, also with the goal of this year being completions, just trying to get that completion percentage up, I know for me at least. So, yeah, having those two, those are two of the best freshman quarterbacks in college football. I believe that. I've seen, 3 classes of freshman quarterbacks come in now. None of them have, come in as prepared as those two have and had the mindset like those two have. But at the same time, I do things that I have different strengths. So working on those strengths as well. So competing with myself every day as well.
How did you feel about your throwing motion being back a lot of snaps in Morrissey?
Yeah, that was something that Coach Rule and I had talked about after last season, and it's by no means anywhere close to where I want it to be. I'm going to keep working this summer on that, and part of that's just footwork and being even more comfortable in the pocket. Not getting antsy in the pocket.
How has working with Coach Glenn helped you this offseason?
Yeah, he's been a part of the feet part. He's really helped me settle down my feet, getting in the right spot, and mentally knowing where to go with the ball. Just getting completions again. That's really been stressed so much this spring. That's when it keeps coming up like this. I think that tells a whole lot about what they wanted from us, and hopefully we showed that today.
I don't know if it was just an expansion of using the tight ends and the flats today, or if that was a new wrinkle in the offense. But what do you think about throwing it to Thomas or to any of the tight ends who were out on the edges of the field?
Yeah, once again, completions. Just getting the ball in play outside the box. Anytime you can do that, there's a chance. Getting a corner to try and tackle Thomas, try and tackle Nate. Get them on those guys. Things are going to happen. That's a first down. Move the chains, start it all over again. And
Or is that
no, we had it last year. In fact, that was So my first play at Minnesota as a tight end was that play exactly, just coming across. And so we've had that in. I think one of my first, I think I had 2 or 3 touchdowns last year off of plays like that. We're just trying to get in the flat in the red zone. They load up the box. Let's get it out in the perimeter, and let those guys run them over and make them miss.
How would you characterize the number of weapons that your quarterbacks at the schools will maybe compared to last year?
I think, like I said, I mean, we've got some transfers, but also I think a lot of these freshmen taking steps. Unfortunately, Demetrius Bell got hurt today. I think he's going to come back and he's going to be a huge part of this offense. He's a weapon that's been used all spring, and I think when he gets back healthy, he'll be a big part. But we've got the transfers, we've got the guys who stepped up last year, and obviously, have Ja'Cory Barney, some of those freshman receivers who are going to take steps and compete for reps out there.
So with Barney, what was your impression?
Yeah, I think he showed what he's been showing us all spring. He's a deep threat, but at the same time, I think his route running is going to become elite and make him a threat at 3 different levels. I think it gets to a point where if the corner's 8 yards off, we flip it out there and let him do his thing, because I don't know if there's an athlete out there who can tackle him one-on-one.
Anything else for Heinrich?
Do you approach the summer as your number 1, number 2, or does it even matter?
No, I'm approaching it as I'm the incumbent. Going to keep working as the starter, and I know those other 2 will as well. And that's what's going to drive this room to be great is, all of us every day competing for that number 1 spot. Each of us having the mindset that we're going to be the starter. So I think that's what will take this room to another level with all the talent that we have, all the weapons that we have, and it's not going to be a clash of ram. We're not going to go head to head. We're going to work together, but at the same time compete.